It's time for us to take a look at the front pages of the national dailies, starting with the Daily Trust newspaper here, where the major story is on Rivers crisis as it escalates. Writers are talking about how 4 local government secretariats burnt. Tinubu directs IGP to restore order. My meekness, not weakness. That's according to the River State Governor, Siminalayi Fubara. You find that on page 4. Below that story, we are taking steps to address insecurity, disunity in the north. That's according to the ACF. I find that on page 8. Cholera kills persons in Kano. Sad situation there. FCT primary school teachers suspend their strike. Beside this, we see the pictorial of, the disaster that is happening, the war happening, going on between Gaza and Israel. And this is Khan Yunis in Gaza, destroyed buildings in Khan Yunis in the southern Gaza Strip on the first anniversary of the ongoing war in Palestinian territory between Israel and Hamas. It's just like, some of the strongest leaders in the world are coming out to say that peace is the right way, because right now that we need more resources, there is more war and we're ruining and losing those resources. Now, below that, we see Hajj fare to hit 10 million naira as federal government stops subsidy. Interesting. It's just saying Nigerians cannot go to Hajj because of the exchange rate. 10 million, it is too much. Too much. This, last year or this year early was the highest that Nigerians paid, which was about 4 to 5, 6 million. Really such situation there. Below that is the Dangote refinery. Nigerians may pay more for petrol as NNPC quits middleman role. Writers are saying the Middle East tension to spark higher fuel costs. Now, this is talking about what is happening between the Israel, Hamas, Gaza, Lebanon, and Palestine, of course, and Iran. But then away from that also, it says 400,000 BPD for Dangote as Naira for crude deals begin. Honestly, all of this is just on paper until Nigerians benefit from it. It's not a great deal. So if they want us to, benefit, then it should be that way. Now, below the headlines there, we see Sharia Council defends Senator Buba against political motivated attacks. Find out on page 8. Bandits kill 8 Zamfara community guards. Tinubu released 1,200 fertilizers bag to each senator, 600 to reps. Now, these are some of the stories that you find on Daily Trust paper today.
All right, moving on to The Guardian. We're kicking off with River State. It says, state of emergency stalk Rivers as political thugs attack councils. Now we can see the pictures of, people, stakeholders there. Now we also have down, anti-graft war won't be won by technicalities, declares Tinubu. Worries over petrol prices as Tinubu deregulates downstream sector. And Kekareku says 80% of Africans unhappy with delivery of democratic rule, says Kekareku. Still on The Guardian, NAFDAC champions food labeling standards as workers commence indefinite strike. And police arrest Areboshola's loyalists for accusing Oyetola of using palliative rice as birthday gift.
Interesting.
And still there we have reviving comatose technical education beyond enrollment drive. Education is not about grammar. All right, now court reduces bail of 5 end bad governance protesters to 5 million naira each. Now, these are the stories you could get from the front page of Vanguard and in Guardian, in Guardian newspaper. The stories you would get on The Guardian.
Now, she was quick to call Vanguard because she could not wait to get to that. But yeah, top of the page there we see federal government NNPCL Dangote plan changes in petrol lifting. That's according to investigation on health and malnutrition. Federal government and CAN and also the West Bank or the World Bank rather unite to save 11 million children. Court reduces bail to 5 million naira for the hashtag #EndBadGovernance governance protesters each. Edo Gilbert, PDP accuses INEC of doctoring beavers and concealing rigging. Major story is on Rivers, where 5 killed, local government headquarters set ablaze and chairman chased out. as Tinubu directs police to provide local government officers security. This major story you find on page 5. Autonomy, don't give workers salary to local governments. That is according to the Labour begging the federal government. Beside that, we see a pictorial of the arson at Rivers State local government areas and at the headquarters going on there. Below there on sports, we see CAF Confederation Cup. Ayimba gets tough Egyptian draw, and Tinubu committed to food security. That's according to the Vice President. Now we have Dr. Theophilus Abba, the Program Director of Daily Trust Foundation, joining us virtually to dissect the front pages of the national dailies. Good morning, Doctor.
Good morning.
Thank you so much for joining us. It saddens me a bit that you're not here physically, but at least you get to join us virtually. Now, Doctor, let's talk about Rivers State crisis and escalating even after the election. We saw how the happened, and then now even after the election, there is still a lot of tension. What is your take on that?
Well, it's quite unfortunate that this is happening in Rivers again. If you recall, it was not only Rivers State. It was not only Rivers State that we had elections on Saturday. There was local government elections in Benue State. There was a local government election in I think in Akwa Ibom State, and then one or two other states. So why should that of Rivers State lead to this kind of violence? It's quite unfortunate. But if you look at the sequence of events, those who won were sworn in, but then suddenly the IG of police withdrew security men from the local government headquarters. If you remember, in the last 3 months, we've had security men at the local government headquarters because of the crisis, political crisis in the state, and then there was violence. So I'm feeling that, you see, it's good that the president has already intervened, but the police should serve all Nigerians, or not some interest in this country. We should see the police serving everyone. Now, if there was an election and there were indications that there could be violence, then the police ought not to have withdrawn Eastmen from the headquarters until there was stability. So I'm thinking that, you see, the police must demonstrate that, look, police, not some interest. It's very unfortunate that this is happening in Rivers again, because we were thinking that after over a year, there should be a measure of stability in Rivers State. There have been interventions by the federal by the president on the crisis between Wike and the Fubara. At a point, somebody has to say, okay, enough is enough, and this is not good for Rivers State. If you talk to the people of Rivers State, they will tell you that, look, they are not enjoying the situation. They are not enjoying what's happening in Rivers State. They are not happy. They want peace. There should be peace in Rivers State.
All right.
It doesn't belong to just an individual. Rivers State belongs to the people of Rivers State, and this one must be allowed to enjoy peace.
All right, Dr. Theophilus. Thank you once again for joining us. Now, still on election matters, in Edo State, PDP accuses INEC of doctoring beavers, concealing rigging. It's not the first time we're seeing issues with beavers and, parties coming out and talking about rigging here and there. So what's your thought on this PDP's accusation to INEC of doctoring beavers and concealing rigging? What's your take on, all of that?
Now, the problem with the election that took place in Edo State, like some other elections that have taken place, aside the off-season election, was that, you see, there was overvoting. Now, when you have the form showing the number of voters being more than the number of accredited voters, the reason why we have beavers is because we want to ensure that only those who are accredited voted. But when you then have, let's say, 120 persons accredited at the polling unit, and you now have 700 voting, and voting for one political party, then the objective of beavers is defeated. It happened in Kogi State. This case went up to the Supreme Court. And then the argument was quite funny. Now, why do you have to be when you have the number of voters being more than it doesn't happen. And in most cases, it's called that some of these results were even written before the exams, before the not the exam, before the election took place. And so you see, there is a kind of outcry. You know, in Kogi, there was similar outcry. And in most states, there was such outcry. In Edo State, now we're having the same outcry. That the number of accredited voters was lower than the number of those that they claim to have voted, and they voted for a particular party. Now, this is affecting INEC's credibility. You know, because if you deploy technology to say, okay, this technology is what we decide, is to regulate the number, to reduce corruption or violation of the law. It means that you have to obey the technology. If you are not deploying beaver, then you shouldn't deploy beavers. Because if you have the number of voters being more than the number of those accredited, where did they come from? How were they obtained? You know, and they could tell you, oh, okay, the issue that all agents of the political parties will sign that form. Okay, anybody can sign the form on behalf of any political party. If you, anybody can say he's PDP, he's APC. Only one person can even sign for all the political parties that are contesting an election. So it is something that INEC must deal with. INEC must come clean on this matter. Yeah. You can't deploy beavers, accredit a number, and much more than that number will vote, and you still go ahead to declare. The electoral act is saying that if you have overvoting, the election should be cancelled. But INEC does not have the courage to cancel this election. It's playing into the schemes of politicians, and that is not good for Nigeria.
Let's address this issue of autonomy. Now we saw with the push of autonomy, it happening, and still there's still a pushback from the governors and other stakeholders. But then now the labor union are coming out and pleading with the federal government not to pay workers' salary through the local government areas. What is your take on that particular topic?
Well, the issue of local government workers' salary, you know, is something that, you know, it's like the local government employees no longer trust the state government. If you remember the issue of inconsistent payment of salaries, teacher salaries was taken away from the local government salary, and it's paid through UBEC. So you now have teachers that are being paid directly from the center, or they pay through SUBEP, and SUBEP pays them. So you are not leaving teacher salaries to the whims and caprices of local government chairmen. And over the years, we discovered that in spite of the allocation to local government, you see, local government chairmen and the administrators of local government are not paying what they ought to pay. You get to a state, the allocation is maybe about 100 million. Then what the salary bill of the local government is maybe 20 million. And at the end of the month, the local government will tell that they cannot pay the salary out of 100 million. I have to say why. You know, and it's because some persons at the state, mainly close to the governor or his executive, have already tampered with the money. So I think the confidence, the local government staff are saying they don't have confidence even under this system. We don't have that confidence. So it is, I don't know how we can rebuild confidence in the system. Because if you are the local government chairman and you are giving 100 million for a month and you cannot pay your staff 20 million, I don't know what you are doing with the money. And so the thing is, I don't know what the president can do or what the center can do. There must be a way of ensuring that salaries are paid, because it is the rest of the local government to pay salaries. I don't think we should cave in. We should ensure that, look, if local government don't pay salaries, there should be a punishment. They have to be penalized for doing it. Yeah. Because you cannot collect money on behalf of the people and say you are not paying them. In most local government, that's not the problem. You see, they get money from the center. They even get internally generated revenue, and this money is shared. And the people who do this labor are not paid. It cannot continue like that. I'm thinking that there has to be a way of saying, okay, maybe the salary should be deducted and paying into the salary accounts of workers even before that, or whatever is the remaining amount is sent to local government councils. Maybe something like that. But I mean, again and again, we are discovering that our people are not confident in the kind of government they have. The governors, they don't enjoy our confidence. Local government chairman also, we don't enjoy our confidence, and that is not good for Nigeria.
What do you think about this Dangote refinery? Now, earlier we spoke about it, had a deep conversation, but I want to hear your take as someone outside the, gas energy sector. What do you think about this going on, where Nigerians may pay more as NNPC quits as middlemen? What do you think?
Now, the issue is that it is not good for government to expose Nigerians to more suffering. Why do I say so? You see, if you are removing subsidy, you are removing subsidy, but then there must be an environment that will make Nigerians not to suffer because you are removing subsidy. Because the duty of government is to ensure that we enjoy better welfare. Now, if you are saying that, we are no longer going to intervene, we are going to allow every Nigerian to go and buy petrol from Dangote and sell, then what's the resolution of government? Now, if you want to ensure that fuel is available at the minimum price, then we have many many depots in Nigeria. Because one of the reasons why the price of fuel per liter will go up is because of the cost of transportation. So why don't you ensure that this fuel from Dangote is channeled into the depots that we have all over, so as to reduce the cost of transportation? If that is not ready, then you must intervene. Because as it is now, we see the sufferings of Nigerians increasing. Government is getting more money because they are not taking responsibility for a whole lot of things, and Nigerians are exposed to too much of suffering. If you now say, okay, there's a depot in Niger State, there's a depot in Makurdi, Benue State, there's a depot in Enugu, and you now say, okay, Dangote will allow you channel your fuel to those depots so that the movement of petrol from this depot to the neighboring state to reduce the cost. Then you must do that. You cannot come here and tell us that, we don't want to intervene, buy directly from Dangote because you are angry or you are not happy with maybe some complaints that some persons have raised. And now you expose Nigerians to suffering. We have suffered too much. A whole lot of, Nigerians are tired of the suffering. For instance, you remove subsidy, you increase, and you devalue the naira. That is the worst that can ever happen in a country. And then even the little intervention that you are making, you say you are no longer going to intervene. So you want us to continue to suffer. And it's not as if when those things are done, salaries were increased or a source of accessing funds were made available. There's nothing like that. Nigerians are just suffering, and the government does not want to take risks. All you do is to dip us deeper into suffering. And for over a year now, we have not seen the benefit of the pains that we are passing through. And we don't even know how we're going to benefit, because we are not seeing industries coming up. We are not seeing things, changing. So I'm feeling that it is not proper for government to say, okay, well, because we have issues with Dangote, we're going to expose all Nigerians to the pains. You must cushion the effort. You must do something about reducing the pains. There's no glory in causing Nigerians to suffer. There's no glory in causing people to be lamenting and to be crying on a daily basis.
You hit the nail on the head. Absolutely. Thank you so much, Dr. Theophilus Abba, for joining us to dissect the front pages today. Thank you so much. All right, with that, of course, and with that, we have come to the end of our 2 hours amazing morning show. We hope that you enjoyed the Daybreak Show this morning. Please do stick around. Top of the hour, Adeni Ajishafe would bring you 360 Sport. I am Sumaya Abubakar. Do have a lovely day.
And I am Lilian Ogazi. Do have a lovely day and do the right thing as a Nigerian out there today.